Hey, how's it going? Today I am talking about getting faster when you're an injury-prone runner. This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for injury-prone RunDisney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong without feeling broken or held together with KT tape as they cross the finish line. Okay, so if you've been listening for any length of time, been following me along on Instagram or reading blogs, this is obviously a new podcast, but if you've been following along for any length of time, you know that my first priority, my first recommendation for somebody who's injury prone is to get the distance first or get the time first, depending on what one you are training with. If you're training with time, get to the amount of time that you want to be training for, or get to the distance that you're training to first. However, if you are injury prone but not actively healing from an injury, dealing with pain, you can get faster. And so the best way to get faster is to work on speed work. Now, I am not like a track runner or a quote unquote typical coach. And that's because my background comes from physical therapy and the fact that I'm a runner. So I do things a little bit differently than what other running coaches do. So I don't like track workouts. I've never liked them. In soccer, we used to have to go to the track and run however many laps. You'd run this lap at this pace, and then you'd do a slow run, and then you'd run this pace, and so on and so forth. And I don't like going over to the track. I don't like trying to go find a track, make sure it's open, make sure it's available, make sure I'm allowed to be on it. I don't like that. So I do other types of speed runs. And because of that, that's how I coach my clients to do their speed runs as well. Because if I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to have my clients do it as their training aspect. So for speed work, my favorite kind of speed work for somebody who does intervals of run, walk, stuff like that, I recommend doing a 30-20-10, and I'll explain what that is. For somebody who likes running on a treadmill, I like doing a progression run. Somebody who lives in a hilly area and can go get hills done, I recommend hill workouts. And so those are specific speed workouts. Other things that you would need to work on to get the speed to improve your pace is to work on your posterior chain. And if you don't know what that means, that just means the back side of your legs. So that is your glutes, your hamstrings, and your calf muscles. Those three main groups. So let's break these up and talk about what each one of these means. So the speed workouts, the 30-20-10, that is the 30 means 30 seconds, the 20 means 20 seconds, and the 10 means 10 seconds. That's how long you do each part of the workout for. So you do your warm up. I recommend walking for 10 to 20 minutes. Then you do your speed workout, and that is jogging for 30 seconds, running for 20 seconds, and sprinting for 10 seconds. You do however many rounds in your designated workout, and then you do your cool down, which if you've been hanging around any length of time, you know that's a 10 to 20 minute walk is my recommendation. So the 30-20-10, you may be getting a little bit nervous. Most of my clients get a little nervous when I say jog, run, sprint. They're like, well, I can't sprint. So I don't mean sprint in literal terms of sprint, but those are the three categories. So really another way we could think about it would be have jog is level 1 pace. Run is level 2 pace. Sprint is level 3 pace. Your level 1 pace is your slowest pace. It's faster than a leisurely walk for you. Your run is faster than your level 1 jog pace, but not super fast. because then the sprint is your level 3 pace, which is the fastest of the 3. Okay, and you do however many rounds. So a good example is I typically do 3 to 5 rounds at a time before I do a 2-minute walk break. So I'll warm up and do my 10 to 20-minute walk. Then I have my intervals set on my Apple Watch so it pings me when it's time to change. So I'll jog for 30 seconds, then it pings me again, and I go a little bit faster for my run, and then it pings me again, and I go my fastest for my sprint. Then it pings me again, and I slow down to my jog. Then it pings me, I move up to my run pace. It pings me again, and I move up to my sprint pace. Then it pings me again, I go to my jog, and so on and so forth until it's time for my walk. And so you walk for 2 minutes as a recovery during the different rounds of the 30, 20, 10. So depending on what my workout is, I'll do 5 rounds before a walk break. It's a 2-minute walk break. Then I'll do another round of 5 rounds. So now we're just starting all over again. And typically my total speed work time is 30 to 40 minutes. That includes my cool down, my warm up and my cool down. Okay, so that's the 30, 20, 10. That's great for somebody who's doing the run walk intervals because you never have to go for a real significant amount of time on any of those paces. So it mimics that run walk style, just more of a run, run, run walk, so that you can build up your speed. Get your body used to running at these faster paces to get the body to create some lactic acid, get those muscles burning a little bit, working differently than when you're doing your slow, easy run. For somebody who likes to be on a treadmill, it can be really hard to do that 30, 20, 10 because you're constantly changing the treadmill. I'm not great at changing my pace to have it set where it will do it for 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds. I've never gotten good on the, sorry, Levi just laid down on one of his toys, so it may have kind of mooed right there. Sorry about that. So I've never really gotten really great at changing the settings on the treadmill. So I don't do that kind of speed work on the treadmill. My favorite kind of speed work on the treadmill is called a progression. And so I'll do my normal warm up, and then every 10th of a mile, I increase the speed by 10%. And so I will start at, let's say, 5 miles per hour, which is a pretty good clip for me. Okay, that's it feels comfortable for me, but it's not super slow, it's not super fast for me. I know it's going to be really challenging for me the closer I get to 6 miles an hour. And that's for right now. Maybe in the future, I will be starting at 6 miles an hour. I have no idea. But I know that getting close to that 10 minute per mile, 6 mile an hour pace is challenging for me. So I progress it. That's why it's called a progression. Every 10th of a mile, I increase the speed by 0.1. So then over the course of my run, I go from 5 miles per hour up to 6 miles per hour. And then I do the reverse, and I'll go back down from 6 to 5.9 to 5.8 to 5.7 and so on and so forth. And then I'll do my cool down. So that's a really good one to do on the treadmill, so that I don't have to like really constantly be going really high up, really low down, really high up, really low down. Because I feel like I just lose momentum almost because I'm focusing so much on the treadmill. But if I just can hit it once every 10th of a mile, it's a perfect way for me to work on speed on the treadmill. And then I mentioned hills. Hills are a great way to make your body work harder when you don't actually have to go much faster, because it's so hard going up the hill. But you work your posterior chain muscles differently because you're going up the hill than if you were just running on flat land. So I do live in a hilly area, so I will go find a segment of a hill and I'll run up that segment and then walk or jog back down, depending on how tired I am from that run up the hill. I like to just give myself that full rest. So I more often than not will just walk down the hill. And I just do that on repeat. And so up the hill, then walk down the hill, sprint up the hill, then walk down the hill. Or even like I was saying, even just going up the hill works those muscles so it can help you with your speed work. Then strength training your posterior chain. So that's your glutes, your hamstrings, and your calf muscles. So work your butt, work the back of your thighs, work your calf muscles. There are so many different exercises to do for those muscles. I'm not going to list them here, but if you work out those muscles, that will help your speed work. General strength training guidelines, you have to make the workout hard enough that the last 2 to 3 reps are challenging. Okay, it really doesn't matter. Are you doing 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 15? I usually don't recommend most of my clients use that as a guideline because we get stuck in a rut. Make it so the last 2 to 3 reps of each set is challenging and do 2 or 3 sets. I do 2, just time-wise. If I'm making it so that my muscles get tired, I know I'm getting a good workout, so I don't worry about the final number. But getting a good calf, glute, and hamstring workout works your posterior chain. Those are the muscles that are propelling you forward. They're pushing you forward. They need to engage. You'll notice sprinters, Olympic sprinters, always have really defined glute, hamstrings, and calf muscles because they work them really hard because they have to sprint. They need their speed up. Now, I'm not saying you're an Olympic sprinter. I'm not an Olympic sprinter, but just notice that that's what they are doing, and they are very fast. So there are many different places to find exercises that you can do for those muscle groups. You may find that I have listed them here on the podcast, in my blogs, in my videos, or on Instagram, but today's podcast, that's not what it's about, not those specific exercises. Just know that those are the muscle groups that you want to be working. Okay, so to get faster, if you're injury prone, as long as you are not actively healing an injury right now and you're feeling really good, you can work on speed with a 30-20-10, a progression, hill workouts, strength training with really big bias towards the glute, hamstrings, and calf muscles. But if you are currently battling an injury, don't work on speed right now. Focus on healing the injury and staying active. As always, thanks so much for listening. If you're planning to run a runDisney race next year and you're injury prone and you want to cross the finish line next year, I invite you to join the interest list for Finish Line Academy. This is the only online group coaching program designed specifically for injury-prone runDisney runners by a physical therapist. Find the link in the show notes. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.